Everyone's here.
Hi everyone. So welcome to the third day, and over to you. Over to your team.
Right. Thank you, sir. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the prelim round of the open calls and tech session. We're going to be starting very shortly. Before we begin, Mehul, can you please go to the next slide? Please go through the disclaimers. These are the rules. If you पहले right.
We request all participants to rename yourselves to your full name, so that it's easier for us when we're keeping the leaderboard.
We hope all of you have filled out the check-in form that was sent on the server. If not, please fill it out right now in order to participate in the prelims.
So this is for the YouTube folks. I was thinking about okay, I'll tell this later.
No, you can go ahead right now.
I didn't want to disturb the students by giving some ideas, but okay, it's okay. I was actually planning to. This is actually a quiz thing, and please try not to put any answers before the answers are shown in the screen. It's a kind request. And looking at the setup, I got a project idea. So anyone who is willing to work with me, let's do it soon after this session is over. And thank you so much, Exun, for this awesome idea coming to me. Credit goes to you all and your team.
Thank you, sir. There is no workshop today. Today's session is just going to be the prelims, which will be in quiz format. After the quiz, we're going to have a doubt clearing session with Praveen sir. So you're gonna be able to clarify whatever doubts that you were facing related to the quiz or otherwise also. So you'll get about an hour of that.
I'm sending the link for the check-in form in the chat. Anyone who hasn't filled it yet, make sure you fill it before the prelims start.
Yes, the quiz is the preliminary round to qualify for the finals for Girls in Tech.
Sneha and Pearl, you are the highlight of the thing. So only you both are visible on the YouTube as well. So tell hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. For those who will be participating from DPS RK Pyramid itself, we request you to write non-competitive in brackets alongside your username so that we know while doing the judging.
Vinayak, do the participants have permissions to rename themselves?
Yes, I think we do. Let me cross check once.
Thank you.
I guess there is not. Is the participants are the participant able to rename themselves? If not, I guess they can send their names in the chat, and they have to get renamed only by the panelists or the host. I guess I'm not sure, but can we have any of the participants say they are able to rename themselves? Not able to. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Oh, some people are doing this way. They can exit and join back by renaming themselves, but I don't think that's a good idea at the moment. Yeah, a lot of people are saying the same thing. Left and rejoined with a different name. Instead, there are a couple of people who have messaged. That seems to be fine. So what is there?
Instructions. Yes, sorry.
Sorry, is there any particular format in which they should have their name?
So ideally, everyone who's participating from another school, your name should be your full name plus the school's name, so that we can refer to you as a team while we're distributing the questions. Everyone who's participating from DPS RK Pyramid itself, you need to have non-competitive in brackets. So a username the way Sarah Kashyap. So just if everyone can view the participants list, so the way her name is named right now, that's how you have to do it. So just let us know if you're from DPS RK Pyramid.
So in simple terms, if you want your name to be changed, whoever is the host, just make a note of the chat. Just add the full name yourself and the chat, and they will be able to change the name. Sorry, host.
Yeah, no problem. I'm doing that right now. So.
All right. Thank you so much. There is a small request from the YouTube side of things. This same Krish Gupta strikes again. Would any of you would be happy to answer him? Thank you. So Krish asks, what is the schedule of the stream? So can I also be a participant? I'm a high school student. I heavily doubt that.
Hi, so thank you for asking the question. This event is open only to girls inclusive. Also, the registration for all Exun 2021 to 22 events was till 14th. So maybe we'll see you next year, hopefully.
Just another 365 days, man. But even then, you cannot become a girl, so no.
We also have other open quizzes that our club organizes as a part of Exun 2021 to 22. So you can surely check those events out. We have quizzes, we have crosswords, we have other programming events, linguistic. We have a lot of events that you guys can check out.
And don't forget all the resources about DPS and Exun Clan. Everything is there in the video description. So feel free to share it with all your friends and make Exun great again.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Oh, hi everybody. Vinayak, we have the Athena representative here with us. Prishtha ma'am, can you make her a panelist?
Yeah, done.
All right, great. Welcome, ma'am. Before we begin, we would just like our title sponsors, our partners for this event, to give a brief address and interact with our participants. Mehul, you can move to the next slide. Not this, the thumbnail. Right. Welcome, ma'am. You can have the stage.
Hey, hey everyone. I'm Prishta from Athena Education. Athena is an education consultancy and life coaching partner of Exun, and I come here with two brownie questions for you. Questions that can give you brownie points. Number one is, what are browser developer tools?
Any of you can put your answers on the chat box. Or you can raise your hand and we can give you permission to unmute. All right, Shivanya.
There are inbuilt tools in a browser that can help us to make a website more easily.
Right, perfect. Thank you, Beneath and Akshara.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for your responses. I see more responses coming in. Okay. Korika, Iswar. Great. I have another question. All right. Has anyone worked on a web development project before? If yes, what was the project and how was your experience regarding it?
Again, you guys can raise your hand and we can allow you to talk. Oh, hi, Shivanya again.
I have built a website using React and Next, and it was pretty fun to do that because they were new frameworks.
Okay, so someone wants me to repeat the question. It is, has anyone worked on a web development? Like, have you worked on a web development project before? If yes, what was the project and how was your experience regarding it? Super interesting. Okay, Gorika hasn't. Shreya has. Stella, Mo, all of you guys have. Hmm. Kanak also has. Disha, no project as yet. Great. So if your answers seem pleasing enough to the panelists, they might give you some extra pointers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for being here with us. It's great that you guys have been working on web development projects, and it's okay if you haven't also, because the point of this workshop, this event itself, was to get you guys introduced to the world of technology and make you guys privy to make future projects. So thank you so much for responding and thank you so much for interacting with us. No, not really, but you do get brownie points for interacting with the panelists. So thank you. Now we can.
To be honest, there are a couple of answers here which we hosts and panelists can see. They are really, really awesome. It's just that I'm completely tired. I cannot say anything outside. So, but let's see. It's really great answers. Whoever who have answered, really good.
Right. So thank you, ma'am, for being here with us. Pearl, do you have something to say?
Just that in the chat, Prishna ma'am from Athena Education has sent a message. Everybody read it out once, check it out. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll forward it to our title sponsors. Thank you so much for joining.
Right. I think, ma'am, you've sent it to panelists only, panelists and attendees for them to see. Yeah, great. All right. Thank you, Prishna, ma'am.
So before we we
Sorry, whoever is speaking, we are not able to hear.
Right. I think Pearl is facing some network issues. I'm just going to take over. Meho, you can move on to the rules slide. Right. So this is going to be the format for the quiz. There are 30 questions in the quiz that are distributed between two categories. So there are general questions and there are bonus questions. I'm going to let you guys know what the bonus questions are. So each participant is required to make sure that their messaging settings are to panelists. We urge you not to change these settings as answers only sent to the host will be considered. So you have the Zoom chat option. You have the option to send messages to panelists. So be sure to do that. And the quiz master will read out each question, following which, so I'm the quiz master, so I'm going to be reading out each question that are going to be on the slides, following which you guys are going to have a time period of 30 seconds to send in your answers. There will be a timekeeper present in the meet. They are by the name Arsha at Exun and Shireen at Exun. They're going to send in messages, start and stop for 30 time period for the period of 30 seconds. So at 0 seconds, Asha is going to send in start, and at 30 seconds, Asha is going to send in stop. Whatever answers are between the start and stop, only they are going to be considered. So make sure that you send in your answers on time. Again, answers sent after the time limit will not be considered and you will not be scored on that. Next slide, please. So only the participants to answer correctly within the specified time will be scored and in accordance to the following. So for the general questions, the correct answer will get you 20 points. There is partial marking according to the number of variables in the question as well. So for example, if the question is asking for 2 things and you get one of them right or you just answer one of them, we can give you partial marking at our own discretion. So we'll award you marks accordingly. You should also note that for general questions, there is no negative marking, so you're encouraged to guess after all this experience. We will be maintaining a live leaderboard while scoring each participant side by side. Leaderboard will be accessible at any participant's request. So at any point in the quiz, you can ask us to show you the leaderboard and we can show you the leaderboard after that question. Final results will be released as soon as the quiz is over. So whoever are the top participants in the on the leaderboard will have qualified to the finals. How many people are going to be qualified? That we're going to clarify later. Next slide, please. Right. So for the bonus questions, I'm going to clarify whether the question is a bonus question or a general question. So for the bonus question, the correct answer will give you plus 30 points, while the wrong answer will give you negative 15 points. So you have to note that there is negative marking here. You can get either 30 points for a correct answer, but if your answer is wrong, 15 points will be deducted from you. Here again, there is partial marking that we will award at our own discretion if we feel that that is appropriate. Again, we're going to have a live leaderboard that we're going to be presenting. And after the quiz is over, like I said, we will be having a doubt clearing session. So participants can stay back. They can wish to clear, if they wish to clear their doubts or clarify concepts that are covered in the quiz, or any concepts that are that were covered otherwise, or any doubts that you have really. Next slide, please. So finally, and most importantly, the quiz master's decision is final. So that's all of us panelists will be awarding you marks as we feel right. Good luck, don't cheat, and have fun. So does anybody have any doubts regarding the proceedings of the quiz? If yes, you guys can raise your hand, or you guys can put it on the chat box. It is going to be MCQ. Yes, most of the questions are MCQ, yes. I hope I'm audible. Am I not audible? Number of questions in general round. Yeah, okay, thanks. Number of questions in general round. So there are going to be a total of 30 questions, and just some of them are going to be bonus questions. Right, so most of them are going to be general. It will be told beforehand whether the question is a bonus question or a general question. You only have to write the answers in the chat. Yeah. For MC, yeah, sure, you can type ABCD. Yeah, that works. If there are no more questions, can I just get a confirmation that you guys have understood the proceedings, and we will start with the quiz. All right, great. Great, thank you. All right. So
I just think the PPT needs to be reloaded once.
Right. Mehul, can you yeah. The timings for the prelim are up till 2. We're also going to have some time for the doubt clearing session. So we expect to be done by 1, but that's not very set in stone. It is visible. Yes, thank you. So, okay, let's start with the questions. The first, so this is the general, these are mostly the general questions. I will let you guys know if it's a bonus question or not. First question, please. So our first question for the day is, how is a for each statement different from a for statement? Option A is only a for statement uses a callback function. Option B is a for statement is generic, but a for statement is generic, but a for each statement can be used only within array. Option C is only a for each statement lets you specify your own iterator. And option D is a for each statement is generic, but a for statement can be used only with an array.
It would have been nice one to have a small timer running on the slide. Anyway, next time.
Yeah, next time. So I think 30 minutes are up.
Yes, the time is over.
Yeah. So, all right, great. Again, like just to reiterate, answer sent in after stop will not be considered, and answer sent in before start will not be considered either. All right, we can move on to the next question. The answer was option B. A for statement is generic, but a for each statement can be used only with an array.
So we now move on to the next question. Next slide, please. How does a function create a closure? I hope everyone can read the options. Let me know if you would like me to read the options as well.
Your time starts now. So 30 seconds are up.
All right, we can move on to the answer. The answer was option B. It returns a reference to a variable in its parent scope. Right, moving on to the next question.
Usually we can do the payload after every 5 questions, I think. We can do that in multiples of 5.
Yeah. All right, thank you. The next question is, which property references the DOM object that dispatched an event? Right, we'll take that into consideration.
We'll scrap this question then.
Yeah. All right, so this question will not be counted. Moving on to question number 4. When would you use a conditional statement? So the option A is when you want to reuse a set of statement multiple times. Option B is when you want your code to choose between multiple options, or when you want to group a data together, or when you want to loop through a group of statement.
Your 30 seconds start now.
Please note that your answer will only be counted after start also. So just wait for me to finish reading out the question, then send in.
So 30 seconds are up.
Now move on to the next question. Answer of this one first. So the answer was A, when you want to reuse a set of statement multiple times. We now move on to the next question. Next slide. Why would you want
Sorry, I guess it was answer B.
Yeah, the blue one, when you want your code to choose between multiple options.
Correct.
Yeah.
Why would you include a useString statement in a JavaScript file? Your options are A, to tell parsers to interpret your JavaScript syntax loosely. B, to tell parsers to enforce all JavaScript syntax rules when processing your code. C, to instruct the browser to automatically fix any errors it finds in the code. And D, to enable ES6 features in your code. Your time starts now. So the time is now over. We move on to the answer. So the answer was once again B, to tell parsers to enforce all JavaScript syntax rules when processing your code. Next question, please.
Great. So I would like to point out that this is a bonus question. So again, plus 30 or minus 15. So be mindful of the negative marking. The question is, for the following class, how do you get the value of 42 from an instance of X? You can see the code and you have to select the option that you think is right. Your time starts now.
Your time stops now.
We can move on to the answer. So the answer was option B, that is 1. You can now have a view at the leaderboard.
All right, so the leaderboard needs a little time to process. Yeah.
So we'll just take after the first 15 questions.
Yeah, we can take a small break here so that the leaderboard can catch up. So if you guys have any doubts, I think Praveen sir can take it right now for 5 minutes.
Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. The 6th question, Mehul, can you move on there? Right. Shivanya, would you like to unmute and ask a question? All right, just raise your hand. Thank you.
So why have we done x dot y instead of x dot y parentheses? Like, do we have to?
Can this question be answered right now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So this is called getters and setters in JavaScript, and get y is a function where the function will be a getter. And since we have got y, which is the named function, named getter, it is going to return the 42 as the number. Since it is going to be a getter and a setter, kind of a concept which is there in Java. So this is the JavaScript version of it. Since getter is a function, it doesn't require any parameters. So on the outside, when it is considered as a variable, for the variable, it will be a property. You know that if you are using length of the string, it's going to be, oops, I didn't expect it. It would be a length of the string is going to be string.length, right? The same way array.length. So you are not putting a parenthesis by calling the function. They are not functions, they are just properties. So if you want functions to be executed as properties, you would be using getters and setters. This is, getters in JavaScript. So this is one such example. Was it clear?
Yes, sir.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Right. So there are some requests for question number 7.
Okay, let's go for it. Okay, coming to this. Okay, this can also be answered, right? Yeah, okay. So coming to this, you have a variable in the global set, okay? Function f1 is also defined in the global area, like where f1 is in the global scope, sorry. And when F2, function F2 is getting executed, there is a local variable V getting created. So this V is not the same V which you saw in the first function. Where did function 1 F1 got initialized? In the global scope. In the global scope, when it gets initialized, what happened to the variable V? It was V equal to 1. So that kind of forms a closure there. It's not exactly a closure, but it kind of forms a closure where the value of V is the global V. When you just execute it, it goes to the global scope and the value of V gets executed. So it's actually a saved value. So even after this, my hunch, okay, I shouldn't say anything like hunch and give a wrong information, but that's it. So this is the explanation for this code. Is it clear? Do you still have any questions? Did you understand, Shivanya? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Great. Okay, let's go ahead for the leaderboard.
Yeah, Megavashni is very excited for it. All right, so we can have the, it's actually still underway. I'm sorry about the delay. We can have it after a few questions if that is all right with the participants. Yeah. Great, so we can move on to the next question. Great. The next question is, our code is producing the error type error, cannot read property, reduce of undefined. What does that mean? Option A is you're calling a method named reduce on an object that's declared but has no value. Or you're calling a method named reduce on an object that does not exist. You're calling a method named reduce on an empty array, or you're calling a method named reduce on an object that has a null value.
Your time starts now.
So the time has stopped. Disha, we received your answer after the time had stopped, so we will not be accepting it. We now move on to the answer.
Your time ends now.
Great. So the answer to this was, you're calling a method named reduce on an object that does not exist, which was option B. We can move on to the next.
Oh, wait. The answer is the first one. Sorry.
Oh, right.
You're calling a method named reduce on an object that is declared but has no value. That should be the answer, because this is a type error.
Yes.
Which has a undefined. So it is defined technically.
Right. Apologies. The correct answer is A. You're calling a method named reduce on an object that's declared but has no value.
This was a general question.
Yeah.
For any bonus question, we will tell you beforehand.
Yeah, and all the bonus questions are toward the end, except for
the first two.
Yeah.
We had earlier.
Okay, moving on to the next question.
So the question is, which keyword is used to create an error? Option A, throw. Option B, exception. C, catch. And D, error. This is a general question, so you'll have 20 seconds.
Your time starts now. Your time stops now.
All right.
We can
So
go to the
yeah, Stella, we received your answer after the stop, so I'm sorry we can't be considering it. The answer to this question was option A, which is throw. I can see a lot of you got it right, so congratulations. Moving on to the next question. Right, so given the following HTML, how could we use one line to hide or show the button? So you can see the code, and you can see the option as well. I don't think I can read it out.
By the way, this is jQuery, not a pure JavaScript. It is a jQuery question.
Right.
Please think and then answer. This was actually seen in yesterday's one.
Your time stops now.
We can move on to the answer.
Okay, the
answer
thing
was
is, the main crux of this question is, how could we use just one line or one command to hide or show the buttons? I guess it is straightforward. We can eliminate C and D as the answers. So it should be either A or B, while toggle is a valid command that was shown on the first day in jQuery when I was looking through the API documentation. How did you all miss it? A couple of people answered C and D. That was kind of interesting. All right. Okay, carry on. It's A.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Also, we are receiving some responses before the time starts. So in that case, that will also not be accepted. Be sure you send your answer after we send start in the chat and before we send stop for every particular question.
So any student, the people who are attendees, the students will be receiving only two things, start and stop. So the moment the start is seen, please answer. I don't understand. After 20 seconds, people are answering. It is, you are losing the points.
Yes, so that makes sense. We can move on to the next question. So next screen, please. So the question is, what will display on a website with the following HTML/JavaScript code? And you have the four options. Time starts now.
Right, so I think the time has passed. We received a lot of responses after Asha sentence stop, so it's not going to be counted. Just please be mindful of the time. We can move on to the answer slide, I think. Yeah, so the answer slide was B, which is 50. Right, most of you got it.
One thing is right. Yes, the stop was a bit quicker this time. I agree with Meghavarshini.
Acha. Right, we'll keep that
In that case,
in
we can
consideration.
accept the responses as well.
Yeah, we'll
We can
keep that
accept
in.
those
Yeah.
responses that came after.
Yeah,
So
all right.
Ahana and Ditanshu, make sure we consider the responses of all those who sent it after stop as well for this particular.
Don't go till the stop, but stop response is shown. So try to answer as quick as possible. Once you are confident about it, make sure you are answering everything in normal 15 to 20 seconds, because some questions have got 20-second limit, some questions will have 30-second limit. For this one, it is 30-second limit.
Beneath for a
Right,
general question, you'll get 20 seconds. It's only for the bonus one, which we announced beforehand, that you'll get 30 seconds.
Oh, and the code questions as well are 30 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope that's all right. Moving on to the next question. Paul, you can take this.
Right. When adding transparency styles, what is the difference between using the opacity property versus the background property with an RGBA parenthesis value? So option A, opacity specifies the level of transparency of the child elements. Background with an RGBA value applies transparency to background color only. Option B, opacity applies transparency to the background color only. Background with the RGBA value specifies the level of transparency of an element as a whole, including its content. Option C is opacity specifies the level of transparency of an element, including its content. Background with the RGBA value applies transparency to the background color only. Last option, D, opacity applies transparency to the parent and child elements. Background with an RGBA value specifies the level of transparency of the parent element only. Since this was a long question, but also we spent some time reading it, so you'll only get 20 seconds for it.
Many are answering after the time is over. Time is actually over 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. So, yes, again, please be mindful of the time. I think we can move on to the answer slide. We have a lot of mixed answers for this one, so it's going to be interesting. The answer was option C, which is that opacity specifies the level of transparency of an element, including its content. Background with an RGBA value applies transparency to the background color only. All right, so we can move on to the next question now. This is question number 14. Which of the following is the correct way to write a comment in HTML? So you can see various syntaxes here. Start. Again, please be mindful that responses before start will not be counted. So if you've started before start, please just send it again.
Yeah, we received one response before start this time, so whoever it was, make sure you send it once again.
Yeah, just to be on the safer side.
The language is HTML, by the way. Stop.
So just when you will not be considering your answer as we received it after the time stop. We can move on to the answer for this question. So the answer is option B.
What's the status of the leaderboard? Is it ready? People who are working on the leaderboard?
Yeah, so we can show the leaderboard for the first 5 questions. Right.
Okay, yeah, so there are a couple of people who have just due to the network latency, they would have sent it before the stop. It's fine. If you have already sent it before the stop, then it will be considered. Don't worry.
If you then consider your answer before stop as well. Here, can we have the leaderboard?
I'll stop sharing my screen and show the leaderboard.
Right. Okay, so it's a little tricky to maintain a leaderboard for almost 30 people. So we're just going to be showing the leaderboard for the first 5 questions, and then the final leaderboard after the quiz has concluded.
So Sneha, actually, I got the idea right now while we are working on these things. So I'm really, really waiting to do this thing again very soon, so that next time we can use our own application to note down the answers. No need of a second person. Sorry, whoever is maintaining the leaderboard, you won't be required. You can automate everything using WebSockets. And I believe a lot of people in my YouTube channel, they would say something related to WebSockets and real-time communication, etc. So that way, immediately you can get all these things done. So this is my next project. By the way, Krish, if you are interested, you can join me on this.
Right, of course, we can use it in our next collaboration.
Awesome. And also all the students, whoever heard me, it is for you also. So in case if you are interested, connect with me. We can see how we can create this and also teach how you can do all these things. Thank you.
All right, so you can view the leaderboard on Mehul's screen. So, okay, so Medha got the fourth question right for 20 points. Stella has also 20 points up till question number 5. Tejaswini has 40 points. Akshara has 60 points. Beneath has 20 points. Kenisha has 40 points. Navya 20. Ria 60. Megavashini has 40. Isma has 20. Mo has 40. Gorika 60. Abhishri has 40. Shreya has 20. Shreya has 60. Disha has 80. Shoaib has 40. Swastika has 40. Ayushi has 60. Shivanya has 60. Asha with 40. Sara Kashyap with 40. Sia with 20. Mahika with 40. And Stella with 20.
I'll just come back to Balila.
Hi.
See how you're maintaining 2 leaderboards for this? So maybe we can recheck for one. Maybe we can recheck the second leaderboard as well if you have one.
Wait, this is only for the first 4 questions or something, right?
Yeah, this is only for the first 5 questions. Again, I'm sorry, it's a little tricky to maintain. We will release the full leaderboard very shortly. So you don't have to be too worried about that. We are aware of that, Asha. We'll fix that. I'll just delete it right now. Great. Thank you for pointing it out. Thank you for...
Bhavya's name there. Can we just check?
Sorry?
Can you scroll up? Is Bhavya's name there? She mentioned in the chat. It's not there.
Right. I don't see it here. Again, these are only the names of people who have filled in the check-in form. Yeah. And we were very particular that only people who have filled in the check-in form would be allowed to participate. Right, Bhavya, we will.
We'll just
right. Okay, we will. Yeah, we will get on that. If
Hana, Tanshu, please make note.
Yeah. All right, Shivanya, we will be going over the questions again. We will be rechecking and rechecking again, so you guys don't have to worry about anything. We will make sure that all the answers are awarded fairly and that it all goes smoothly. So I think we can continue with the quiz. Great, thank you.
Is the quiz visible?
Yes, it is. Thank you. So, yeah, this was the answer to our last question. Now we are moving on to question number 15, which is that the CSS grid introduced a new length unit, FR, to create flexible grid tracks. Referring to the code sample below, what will the width of the 3 columns be? So again, you have 30 questions to answer this. Your time starts now. You can see the code here and the options are listed as well.
So the time has now stopped. We received 2 responses afterwards, and everyone was given 30 seconds, so they will not be considered. And we now move on to the answer. So the answer was option B. The first column will have a width of 50 pixels, the second column will be 150 pixel wide, and the third will be 300 pixel wide.
The way this is calculated is you have 500 pixels in the width and you're taking 50 pixels out of it for the first column. Second column is in the rest, you are splitting it into 1 part and 2 part, which means 1 frame and 2 frames. So the rest is 450. If you split it by 3, you get 150, 150, 150 each. So the first column is 50 pixels. Second column is 1 frame, which is 150 pixels. And third column is 2 frames, which is 300 pixels. Any questions? This one's a tricky one, and it is very important in web development right now because CSS grid is being used in a lot of places. So that's the reason I gave a detailed explanation. Sorry for the time taken.
Right, no problem, sir.
So Akshara, Shreya, and Stella, your answers will not be considered for this question. Akshara, does that answer your question? We can move on to the next one then.
All right. What is the line height property primarily used for? Option A is to control the height of the space between 2 lines of content. Option B is to control the height of the space between heading elements. Option C is to control the height of the character size. And option D is to control the width of the space between characters. The time starts. Oh, we have a lot of responses already.
The time is now up. We can move on to the answer. So the answer was option A, control the height of the space between 2 lines. We move on to the next question. Which of the following defines the sticky value on the position property? You'll have 20 seconds for this question, and the time starts now.
Since it's a long question, I think we can have 30 seconds.
So the time is once again up, and we received a lot of responses after the time was over.
Right. The stop was sent after 30 seconds only. Like she didn't send the start stop after 30. Like there was a 30-second gap. So, and we received a lot of responses after stop. So I'm sorry, we can't be considering that.
Actually, I had announced that the time has started. I think there was one in the chat as well. Shireen had sent to start.
Yeah. All right. I think we can move on. You guys will receive stop messages. It's set to all panelists and attendees. Oh, right. Right. Okay. So there were some discrepancies in the start-stop. We get that. We will not be considering the start-stop system here. So all of the entries will be considered. Sorry for the inconvenience. So the correct answer is visible on the screen. It was option D, which is that it is a hybrid of relative and fixed positioning. The element is treated as relative positioned until it crosses a specified threshold, at which point it is treated as fixed positioned. So yeah, I hope we can move on. Yeah, we get that, Vani. It was a technical issue from our side. So we will not be considering the start-stop for this question only. So all of the responses that we got will be marked and scored accordingly. We can move on to the next question. Right, so which of the following is a type of selector in jQuery? Option A is CSS selector, option B is custom selector, option C is XPath selector, and option D is none of the above. Your time starts now, and the start is on the chat box as well. And the time is up. Beneath Stella, we received answers after the stop message, so that will not be considered. I'm sorry. We can move on to the next, to the answer slide, please. Thank you. So the answer was none of the above.
But can I make a suggestion to allow, give partial marks to the people who have answered A, because it is 90% CSS selector and there are like a couple of custom selectors as well. And it is kind of like the correct answer is totally like what jQuery is using. It's a jQuery sizzle selector. We can really give some points to people who are using A as well. So that's my humble suggestion.
Right, we'll surely take that into consideration. So people who answered option A will be given partial points at our discretion. So I hope that's all right. Moving on to the next question, Paul, you can take this one.
I guess we need to disqualify this question.
Yeah, this question will also be scrapped.
Sorry.
I think there's some problem with the PPT because I'm just pressing on the next button and showing the answer.
Right, no problem. We have enough questions. Right. Right, so the question is, using the attribute selector, how would you select an A element with the title attribute? So the options are listed over there. Your time starts now.
Why did we change ABCD to 1, 2, 3, 4? Damn.
Right. People who are answering in ABCD, that will also be considered. We can use that.
Okay, so stop answering the questions.
Do you have anything to say?
So, right, shall we move to the answer screen?
Right, sure. Bhavya will get you after the answer slide. So the answer was option A or 1. So
the thing here is, let me explain everything here. The fourth option is an invalid CSS selector. There is no CSS selector that has A equal to title format. First answer is any element, that is A is an element. You can have A, P, div, or anything, that is an element selector. When you put something in brackets which comes right after the element, that becomes attribute selector. If you have this attribute, then this gets selected. Inside that, you can, like drill down to, let's say, href equal to hash, that kind of attribute. That is possible, but an equal to cannot come outside any selector, outside to square brackets. Second one is A with a direct descendant, like a direct child, is a title. So that is called descendant selector. And you have an A tag. Inside the A tag, there is a title tag, which is kind of like not at all making sense, because title tag can appear only once, and that too inside the head tag. And you cannot style the title tag, by the way. The third one is A with a class title. All the classes are represented using dot. And here you go. An element, a link element, a hyperlink element, which is anchor tag, A tag with a class equal to title, will be selected by number 3. And finally, number 4 is invalid. If you have any questions, you can ask. It's like a checkbox with text or number attribute. I don't understand, Shivanya. What do you mean? Like checkbox with text or number attribute? Okay. Where are you all answering? Like, why did you say this? Do we have any forms here? Okay. All right then. So this is something which I wanted to add on to the answer so that you will learn something new. All right. Okay, while coding. It is kind of like yes. It's like a checkbox. Correct. Got it. We can go to the next question. Be careful.
Move on to the next question.
Right before that, we can take
let us know if you have anything to say.
Anyone, any questions? We can have a small chat, and then if you have any questions, I can answer or the team can answer. Let me also quickly check the YouTube link.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay. So there is a question from Krish Gupta. So on the Exun site, I register for what? And it has to be an individual, right? So it's an external person.
Right. So registration for this year have unfortunately been closed because Exun Week started on the 14th of January. So all of the events were supposed to be registered then. But we'd love to have you next year. We're planning on, You can check out our event listing there though. It's usually the same for most years. That's it.
KHP. Okay, so we can go for the next question then.
Right, Bhavya would just...
Yeah, good. Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hey, yes,
Yeah, I
Bhavya,
filled
we are
the
able to
form
hear
as
you.
well. Yes, sir. I filled the form as well for registration, but when I saw the leaderboard, my name was not there. I have been answering all the questions.
Right, we are taking that into consideration. I've updated the leaderboard with all of the names from the check-in form. You don't need to worry. We're taking that into consideration, and you will be scored appropriately. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next question. Paul, you can take this one.
So next question is, in order to put element to its parent element, which of the position value should the parent element not have? Option A, static, B, relative, C, absolute, and D, fixed. And the time starts now.
Just note, it should not have.
Yeah, emphasis on not.
If anyone sends 2 responses, we'll consider your final one, provided that it's before we send stop in the chat.
All right, so the time is up. Mohameda, I'm sorry, your answer will not be considered. We can move on to the answer slide. Right, so so the answer was option A, which is static.
To give a small context about what this question means, you want to use a child element. The child element is already having a position absolute. When this child element will be following its parent. So if the parent is relative, the child will follow. If the parent is absolute, the child will follow. If the parent is fixed, the child will follow. If the parent is static, which is the default thing, the child will not follow. Instead, it will follow the next top element, which is positioned either relative, absolute, or fixed. If none of them are relative, absolute, or fixed, it's going to follow the viewport. That is how this whole thing works.
Right, of course. Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any doubts regarding this? You can send it on the chat box or raise your hand. Or just say no if you don't have any doubts. All right, thank you so much, Akshara. Thank you, Shivanya. Thank you, Vineet. Thank you, Sarah. We can move on to the next question. All right, so which statement about block and inline elements is true? Option A is by default, block elements are the same height and width as the content container between their tags. Inline elements span the entire width of its container. By default, block elements span the entire width of its container, whereas inline elements are the same height and width as the content contained between their tags. Option C is a nav element is an example of an inline element. Header is an example of a block element. D is a span is an example of a block element, while div is an example of an inline element.
The time starts now.
Yes. Most of you are answering the same thing. Great. So
your time stops now.
Up. Yes, thank you.
Before showing the answer, an easy way to answer these kind of questions is, what is span? A span is a span of text, which means it is an inline element. And what is a div? A div means a division. Division means a block of content. So you can remember it that way. So ultimately D is not the right answer. Okay, go ahead with the answer.
Right, thank you, sir. So the answer was B, and I can see that most of you were right. By default, block elements span the entire width of its container, while inline elements are the same height and width as the content contained between their tags.
By the way, the same way with C as well. Nav is also a block level element because it's a navigation bar.
Right.
A bar is a block element.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Moving on to the next question. Paul, you can take this one.
So the question is, what are the elements of the CSS works model? Option A, margin, padding, height and width. B, padding, border, height and width. C, margin, padding, border, content. And option D is margin, total height of the element, total width of the element, and padding. Your time starts now.
So time stops now. And in simple terms, box model contains border. So the first one is gone. First one is gone. Third one, last one is also gone. So the answer is, go ahead. Show us the answer.
Yeah, we can move on to the answer slide. The answer is C, which is margin, padding, border, and content.
Gunika and Shoei's, your answers will not be considered for this one as we receive them after stop. So we can move on to the next question.
All right. So
I guess this is a repeated question, right?
Yeah.
Can you reload the slides once? If that's a technical issue.
I think we can just...
Yeah, the slides have already been reloaded. I guess we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah. All right. So question number 25 is: an element div with a class box has paragraph P inside of it. The paragraph has the class name of text. If we use the following style sheet in our document, what will be the background color of the P element? So you can see the...
Is this a bonus question? It's a normal question, right?
It's a normal question, but you will get 30 seconds for this. But
30 seconds question. Your answers are not being shown yet. So let's wait what's happening.
I don't think this is not an MCQ. You guys can just send in your answer. Your time starts now.
It is an MCQ.
Next slide.
No. Wait. It is an MCQ. I guess the next slide has the answer.
Yeah.
List of answers.
The next slide has the options.
To the next slide.
Right. So I think that would be a little...
The options are basically black, red, blue, and green.
Yeah.
So the students can choose between them.
You can send
Are you sure? Are you sure? Do you want to show the answers now?
No, I'm sure about the MCQ.
I'll just show the next slide for a second.
What if it's your answer? We can
it's black, red, blue, green. Yeah, so just show the style sheet again, so for reference. You don't have to mention... Yeah, so option ki jagah, like just color ka naam. You guys can just mention the color's name.
We'll actually consider both.
Yeah, we'll consider both. Yeah. For your reference, the options are black, red, blue, and green. Yes, time has started. I think that the start message was not sent. Yeah, I will announce when the time is up. There are 5 seconds to go. And stop.
Okay. By the way, I could see a couple of people telling that there are some errors in the style sheet. Literally, there are no errors in the style sheet. The reason I say this is you can safely omit spaces, line spaces, even semicolons for the last rule. So if you see the last rule, the dot text, everything is a last rule. So whether or not after the curly braces are there, when the curly braces come, before the curly braces, you don't normally require a semicolon. Okay, this is about the syntax of CSS.
Right. Okay, thank you, sir. We can move on to the answer slide now.
Have you sent 2 responses for this one then? Please. All right, so do you want us to consider your first one?
All right, got it.
All right, that can be done. The question was of Khanak. She had mentioned something in the chat.
All right.
So we can now move on to the next question.
To the
answer of this one.
Yeah. The answer was blue, also option C. So you'll be getting points for both. Like if you mention blue, you'll get points, or if you mention C, you'll also get points.
The reason here why it is blue is, can we go to the question, please? So if you see here, you have div.box. There is a greater than symbol, which is a direct descendant, and paragraph is color blue. Okay. The problem here is, or the content here is, the paragraph has been very specifically targeted in the third rule. And if you see in the specificity index, the first rule has got 0 points, second rule has got 10 points, third rule has got 2 tags, which is 2 into 10, 20. There is a class, so 120 points. And fourth one is just a class, which is 100 points. So you would be getting the third one being the highest specific. You will be having the answer blue. To know more about the specificity, maybe next time I will send out a video which they will be sharing with you.
Yeah, so we'll have a doubt clearing session right after the quiz. So if anyone has any questions left, you would ask sir again.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Sorry? All right, about the leaderboard, we'll just be releasing it after the quiz is over. Yeah, after we have accounted for all of the changes that were to be made in the leaderboard. So we'll just be releasing it after the quiz gets over. Sorry for the inconvenience. We are just left with a couple more, if I'm not wrong. We can move on to the next question, please. Thank you. So the answer was okay. So which of the following is a generic family of the font class? Oh, sorry? Oh, sorry. Which of the following is a generic family of the font class? You guys can see the options here. Your time starts now.
So the time is now up and we received 2 responses. Bhavya, we received 3 responses after the time was over, so we will not be considering those. Bhavya, Megha, Varshini and Preet, your answers will not be considered. And we now move on to the answer. So the answer was option C. It was sans serif. And we now move on to the next.
And there is a probability that it could even be Times New Roman in some of your computers. By default, it is sans serif, and it is actually derived from your browser settings, which is called as user agent style sheet. Yeah. Answer is C.
Right. Yes. So moving on to the next question. Which statement is the correct way to create a variable called rate and assign it the value of 100 in JavaScript? So you can see various statements. You have to select the correct one. All right, and a lot of responses already. You guys are. Oh. All right, so the time is now up. Yeah, we have 2 responses after the stop message, so I'm sorry we will not be considering that. We can move on to the answer slide. So the answer was option A. I see most of you got it right.
So the syntax is like, what type of variable? Is it var, never use it, let or const? The second thing is the name of the variable following the naming conventions of a variable. It should not start with a number. It should not start with a symbol except underscore. It should not contain any punctuations like dot or minus or plus or star or any of these operators, etc. And it should be followed by an equal to, and then there could be any kind of value or an expression. So that's how it is. So only A works. D also works, but that is not, how do you say? You're not defining it. You are just redefining the existing value. So A is the correct answer.
Right. Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next question. Paul, you can take this. You're on mute, Paul. Sorry.
Right, so the question is, which of the following statements is true about the display and visibility properties in CSS? Option A, display none reserves the space of the element and hides the element from the visitor. Option B, visibility hidden reduces the opacity of the element to 0 and moves the element from the document flow. C, display none can only be used on inline block statements, and option D is none of these. The time starts now.
Start your answers.
Okay, so the time is now up.
So the time is now over and we move on to the answer. Medha, we will not be accepting your answer. It was after a stop.
Okay. The reason why it is D, none of these is, if you see every answer has got one or two things wrong. So display none does not reserve the space. So that is wrong. It does hide the element from the visitor. Visibility hidden reduces opacity. Yes, that's correct, but will not remove the element from the document flow. So that is wrong. Display none can only be used on inline block elements. Inline block itself is a display. So display can be used on literally any elements, including script tags, style tags, meta tags. So none of these is the right answer.
Right. I hope that's clear to everybody. We can move on to the next question now. Which of the following statements is true? Option A is, when border box is applied to an element, the height and width of the element includes the content, margin, as well as the padding. Option B is, when content box is applied on an element, only the bottom margin and padding can be set. Option C is, when border box is applied on an element, the height and width of the element includes the content, padding, and the border. Option D is, when border box is applied on an element, it removes the margin collapse in the sibling element. Your time starts now.
Option A and C are not the same, Akshara. There's a slight difference if you notice carefully.
You have to notice it.
Beneath, we will not be accepting your answer. This one, sorry.
Right.
Now move on to the answer.
All right. So the answer was option number C. When border box is applied on an element, the height and width of the element includes the content, padding, and the border. And yes, Shivanya, your second answer will be considered as long as it was done before stop. Where is that?
Yep, it will be.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is clear cut. So when you take about box model, it is covering the inner box model. The border box model will be covering only padding, height, and width. So padding and content to be precise. So for the width and height. When it comes to the content box model, it is just the width and height. As simple as that.
Great. We can move on to the next question. All right, so these are the bonus questions. Again, like just to reiterate, plus 30 minus 15. So this has negative marking, so please be mindful. Right, so Pearl can take it.
Isn't it plus 30 minus 10?
It's minus 15 as mentioned on the slide. Right.
So the question is, we want to create, yeah. Go on. All right, so the question is, we want to create a new jQuery plugin called Link Updater that can be changed onto another jQuery selector like a normal plugin. It should update all the links in the reference collection so they open in new windows or tabs. Below is the first cut. What is one problem with this plugin? And you can see the code and the options. You'll get 30 seconds for this question. And time starts now.
Okay, this question is really tough for me as well. I'll wait for the answer.
All right, so the time is up. You were given 30 seconds for this. Right, so we have a lot of different answers for this one.
Mixed answers again, because yeah, let's go look at that answer. And this one has a negative points, right?
Yes, minus.
Oh my God.
and plus 30 and minus 15. And this is what makes or breaks your leaderboard. So we can move on to the answer slide. So the answer slide is option D. Our plugin should extend jQuery.fn, not jQuery itself.
Also, Arshia, your answer will not be considered as we received it after stop. So, sorry about that.
You dodged a bullet. Yeah. Sir, do you want to give your inputs?
I guess nothing. This is a valid one. That's all I could say.
Right. All right. Moving on to the next question. This is also a bonus question. Pearl, you can.
Right. So interpret the following code block and choose the correct option. Variable A equal to 20. Variable B, A is equal to 30. Document. You can read the code. And yeah, the time starts now. You will have 30 seconds for this answer since it's also a bonus question. Also, the marking scheme to reiterate will be plus 30 minus 15. So answer only if you're very certain about the answer.
Be careful, it has a negative marking as well.
The time stops now, and swastika of history, we will not be considering your answers. And
this is a very common problem in JavaScript world. Let me explain the answer. Let's see what would be the correct answer. I guess the answer here, which is given, is correct. Okay, no comments. Go for it. Because both the variables are getting changed, right? So I did not see that. I would have answered wrong, to be honest.
Right, so these are tricky questions. All right, we can move on to the next question.
So in simple terms, what happens in the second line is the first line gets removed literally because var a equal to 20 is replaced by var b equal to a equal to 30. So b and a have the same value, and a plus b, since both are numbers, it's going to be 30 plus 30, which is 60. There you go.
Right. All right, we can move on to the next question. All right, we can scrap that one as well.
No, I don't think so. I haven't seen the answer. Did we?
The answer is directly embedded into the question, actually.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, slowly move to the next slide and see what happens. I totally missed that. All right, go on.
Yeah. So
oh my God. Okay.
We can just move on. I think this was the last question, if I'm not wrong.
Sneha, do we have any extra questions?
No use of safety slide after the damage is caused. Next question, please.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. I think we can work with this. We can work with the questions that we had already. Again, this last question will not be considered. I think, do we have any more questions?
Do we have any more questions then?
The next slide. Yeah.
Finished.
Finished. Right. So thank you so much for this quiz. I had a lot of fun conducting it. I hope you guys did too. We will be releasing the leaderboard after the quiz, it seems. Now, I think you guys can take over for the doubt clearing session. We will let you guys know about the qualifiers for finals as soon as possible.
We'll also let you know the schedule for the finals shortly. It will be held tomorrow or today evening onwards. So we'll let you know the schedule on the Discord server itself. And we will also be releasing the questions and set of answers for this. So let us know if anyone needs that.
Yeah, we can share the PPT if you guys would like it.
All right. So let's go ahead and open it up for question and answer session. So any questions, please go ahead. You can use the question and answer here, right? Yeah. We do have a question and answer button as well. So in case if you have any questions, hit all the questions right now. And we have our team from YouTube as well. They are also ready to answer the questions. So people who are watching in YouTube, I'm going to read out the questions whenever the question comes up. and feel free to answer that. Second last question, can you explain? What is the second last question?
Mehul, you can, I don't think you need to stop presenting.
Yeah, I'll
also,
just share
if you
it.
guys, if you guys have doubts, you can just raise your hand. We can give you permission to unmute and we can interact.
That would be great. That would be great for
yeah.
people who are watching on YouTube as well. Exactly.
All right. Megha Vashni has a question. I will just give you permission to talk.
The next question after this one, actually. Yeah, this one.
Okay, so what is your question? Okay, right. So what happens here is you are supposed to ask, like you have supposed to target all the text inputs that are not disabled. So this is, you have something called a CSS3 not selector. And how would you disable an input? By using an input. Sorry. Okay, sorry, I'm just muting you, Megha. Okay, so how would you disable an input? By using the disabled attribute. So if this attribute is present, then the input gets disabled. Okay, so if you need to select all these inputs that are disabled, you will be putting the square brackets. So input square brackets disabled will select all the inputs that are disabled. So if you want it not to be disabled, you just put a not operator, which is a colon not, and inside that you just put extra contents to it, which is going to be in the same rule. So this works that way. Megha Varshini, is this okay? Did you get?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, cool. The next question is from Shreya. Can you please explain the closure thing that was asked in one of the first 5 questions? Host, please try to find which question was that.
Yeah, sure. Just
thank you.
I think it was the third question.
You just press escape and then go directly to the third. It's very tough navigating this way. You have 70 slides to go ahead. General round, safety slide. Stop there. Third question. Closure thing.
Second one.
Nope. Second one. Yeah. Open this up. Put it on screen. Cool. So this question, how does a function create a closure? So what happens is technically it, okay, can we have the answer slide as well, please? So the first thing is it, okay, this is kind of like confusing. Even the question and answers are like, question is fine. First thing, it doesn't reload the document when the value changes. So we can avoid that answer. It completes the execution without returning. Might be a better suited thing, but at the same time, closures do not execute sometimes because executions are done by immediately invoked function expressions. So you need to put a parenthesis after the closure. So closure is just that part. It completes execution with, sorry?
It automatically gives you, but they are not that bad. It was fun.
Okay. Okay. So
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, like that was on us. I'm sorry, guys. तुम को बहुत वो हो गया होगा because live leaderboard 30 लोगों के लिए maintain करना would be very difficult. So yeah, I saw what you guys were doing. You guys were doing a great job. Sneha नहीं है ना? Like Sneha ditch कर दिया लोगों को.
I don't think she did it.
All right. So let's go for the next question then in that case. Any other questions? So Shreya, was it clear like it creates a local scope inside a function and that would be a functional scope. So that way it is going to create a closure. That is the thing. Awesome. Any other questions? Let's have a quick look at the chat box. Krish Gupta, there are a lot of people who are from 8th standards to 12th. So definitely you are elder to them. What's happening? Nothing is happening. All right. Any other questions? I guess seems like we are done with the whole stuff. Is it? Or do we have any other plans?
Yes,
Team?
sir, definitely. We don't seem to have any other questions from the participants.
Cool. Awesome. So thanks a lot for everyone for coming in. And this is actually a private quiz session for the Exun Clan, but we plan to stream it on YouTube as well so that you can get an idea of like how this quiz is happening. Like we always have this leaderboard, looking at the leaderboard, looking at the matches, etc. Right? That is the thing. Someone is asking about what is the cutoff.
You can expect to receive the leaderboard in another half an hour. Our entire team is working on the happenings that happened in between. For the cutoff, I don't think we're allowed to release that. However, we will be taking the top few participants. How many participants, that we'll be deciding in the same half hour. So we'll let you guys know. We'll take around top 6 to 10. That's what we expect. The exact number we'll let you know.
Right. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating in this quiz. It was so much fun hosting. It was fun framing the questions and organizing it, and it was very fun to work with Girl Coded, especially. They are an amazing organization, and we just want to thank them for giving us this opportunity to collaborate with them. A special thank you to Praveen sir for being such an incredible instructor. Even I learned a lot in these sessions, the way that you explained everything, it was awesome.
And Sneha and Pearl, thank you for confusing the hell out of me in certain questions. I don't know how these kids are taking it up. Who knows, they might even strike. Okay, I'm not giving any ideas. All right.
Yeah, so all the credits for the questions goes to our web development department.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much. We hope you guys enjoyed this quiz as much as we did.
Bye, and stay home, stay safe. For the YouTube audience. And I'm just going to quickly see if there are any questions from the YouTube side of things. So there is only one guy who is Krish. He's always asking about, like, he's extremely enthusiastic. Let's make him famous. Krish, you are awesome. Okay, that's it. So this is just for you, man. A huge shout out for being very sportive in a lot of areas. And thanks a lot for the Exun Clan. And to know more about Exun Clan and the whole thing about this event, Girls in Tech, check out all the links in the description. Support everyone. And with that being said, stay home, stay safe, and bye from Sneha and Pearl as well. Sneha and Pearl, go ahead, say bye.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Bye, everyone. See ya.